Okay? I don't know a lot about the Industrial Revolution. I don't know a lot about the article he was about to show us. If I were choosing an article for this assignment, I would not choose that because I don't know anything about it. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is choose something that you know a little bit about and that you're interested in. Okay? So I'm going to model that for me. For me, I know a little bit about homelessness. I've never been homeless, but I've worked with homeless people, and I know a little bit about homelessness. I've read about it, stuff like that. Okay? So I know that I'm interested in homelessness as well. I want to know why, how are people homeless, those kinds of things, right? So we are going to practice using these things, looking at these things like he said, and then we're going to make a prediction about what this article might be about. So if you turn in your package, do you have the article on homelessness? Please say you do.
Yes, I have.
Yes? Okay, put that in front of you. Good, I'm recording. Okay, so everybody sees this? So we're going to practice previewing this and making some predictions. We're not going to read it right now. We're just going to practice for this assignment. All right? So the first thing he said was to look at the title. What is the title? What is homelessness? Yeah. So before we do any further reading or scanning or previewing, I want us to think. Use what we know. What do you guys know about homelessness? What is homelessness? What comes to your mind when you first think about homelessness?
People without a home.
People without a home. Okay. Uh-huh. Anything else?
Sleeping in the streets.
Sleeping in the streets.
Usually druggies or drunks.
Okay. Druggies.
Not usually.
Drunks? Okay, someone says no. Not usually. Okay, good. That's okay. Yeah. Let's keep going. What else do you know?
Looking for food.
Looking for food. Right? Uh-huh. Anything else? Okay, so these are some of the ideas that come to mind when we think about what is homelessness. All right? Picture. Are there any pictures on here that we can look at? So if you turn it over, it's on both sides. We have some kind of stuff in the front. Any pictures we see on the back? What are some of the pictures we see? Little symbols. Yeah, what kind of symbols do we see?
Or a bus.
Okay, we see a bus. What else?
A bowl of soup.
A bowl of soup. Okay. Yeah.
The house.
House.
Kind of.
Yeah. Anything else?
Family.
A family. Yep.
$1,000.
Okay, $1,000. Yeah. Uh-huh. We see all of those things, right? Yeah. So we've looked at that. We've looked at the title. We've looked at the caption. We thought about some of the things we already know. Captions. What are captions? We don't have that in our glossary. What are captions? He showed us on there. I quickly turned it off, but he was showing us. Anybody?
These down here.
What's that?
The rock down here.
Okay, they have some questions, some headings, right, for us that we could click on and find out more information. Captions are what you see underneath a picture that helps explain the picture, okay? So captions are under a picture and they explain the picture. So do you see any captions to go along with the pictures here?
To cover.
Ah, so if we look,
Food.
Yeah.
Transportation.
yeah, so if we look underneath there, per month to cover rent, food, transportation, and other expenses. So this $1,000 explains all these little pictures, is that this maybe is what they're trying to tell us. This is what a family sometimes only has to cover all of these expenses, right? Yeah. Okay, good. So we know, we've looked at that. Table of contents. What's a table of contents? What's a table of contents? So when I was previewing that person's book over there before, I looked in the table of contents and it showed me how many chapters there were, right? What does a table of contents do? Does one article usually have a table of contents?
No.
No. So we usually find a table of contents in a book, right? Cookbooks almost always, they should always have a table of contents, right? So a table of contents shows you what's going to be inside the book, what you can find inside the book, okay? Table of contents, this doesn't have it. What about headings? Does this one have headings? What's a heading? Yeah? Someone want to show me? Have an idea what a heading is?
The title?
So the titles are here. That's going to always be like right at the top. And then what are the headings? This, if I look at this really quickly and preview it, I see that there are 2 headings on this page. What are the 2 headings on this page? I see 2 headings.
Who experiences homelessness? Is that right?
Yep. And the,
what is homelessness?
yeah, the first heading is actually just repeating the title. And that's maybe why before you were saying the title, right? So the first heading is actually just a repeat of the title. So we know underneath here that there's going to tell us what is homelessness. If we go under here, it's going to say who experiences homelessness. Now if we flip it over, there's something else other than headings I want you guys to notice. What else do you notice? Yep.
Anna Friesen's husband is here.
Okay, I think Anna's in that room over there. Yeah. What else do you notice within the text, within the body paragraphs? What else do you notice? There's something that should kind of jump out at you in the paragraphs themselves.
The words that are darker.
Yes, we call those bold words. All right. So the bold words. Why do articles sometimes do that? Why do information pieces sometimes have words that they darken or that they make bold?
That's more important and have paragraph that
Yeah, they want you to catch.
focus. Yeah.
Yep, they want that to catch your attention. That's something they're going to talk about. It's very important. Sometimes online, when we see the boldness, it's sometimes blue. What does that mean? What does it mean if it's not dark black, but it's blue? Anybody know? It's a link, yeah. So if it's blue, if you saw this homeless youth on the back, it means if you clicked on that, it would take you to another page that would just be focused on homeless youth and telling you all about homeless youth. Yeah. So the bold words, what are the 3 bold words? Actually, the one bold word starts on this side and goes to this side. It's a phrase. So there's 3 phrases that are bold. What are they? Starting at, there's one up here too, but let's start with the bottom here.
Hidden homeless.
Hidden homeless. What else?
Families with children.
Families with children.
Homeless.
And sorry, homeless youth.
Yes.
Okay. So hidden homelessness. Hidden homeless. Okay, and those are our bold words. Now look at this, you guys. We already know, we can start making some pretty good guesses about what this article might tell us. So let's start making some predictions. So we've looked at the title, we've looked at the pictures, we've looked at the caption, there's no table of contents. We've looked at the headings, we've looked at the bold words. Now we're going to start making some guesses about what this article is all going to tell us. Is it okay if our guesses are wrong?
Yes.
Totally. Okay. So we call these guesses predictions. Is this a new word for people, or you guys feel like you knew predictions before?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you think of it, we actually make predictions all the time. We always are thinking ahead what's going to happen. It's not always right, but we're always doing it, whether we think about it or not, right? I think it's going to be super cold again tomorrow. Well, why? Well, it's cold today, and I know we're having a cold spurt, and I heard somebody say it's going to be cold for the next right? So we're always doing it. So looking at all these things, starting with the title, what do you think the article is going to tell us about these people? Thinking about the bold words, thinking about the pictures we've seen. What are some guesses that we think that this article is going to tell us about?
Poor people.
Okay, but what about them? So we know it's probably going to talk about poor people, but what's it going to say about those poor people? What do you think?
Should I?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna talk about like the kind of people that usually are homeless.
Okay, yep. So the kinds of people that are homeless. Okay? Now I'm going to take take this, thank you, I'm gonna take this poor people one, and I'm gonna just stretch it out a little bit, okay? Because this is what I want you to do for this assignment. Instead of just writing a word or two, like I think it's gonna talk about poor people, always ask yourself the next question. What's it gonna tell me about poor people? And I think it's going to tell me, after looking at this $1,000 and all these things you need to do, I think it's gonna talk about that poverty, or being poor, leads to homelessness. Leads to homelessness. And poverty leads to homelessness. And this, by the way, is what we call point form. Did you notice I'm not writing a big, long, fancy paragraph? You don't have to write a big, long, fancy paragraph for this. You just have to write pieces of information, but more than just 1 or 2 words. Okay? So poverty leads to homelessness. And if I look at these, I'm going to say, I think it's going to tell me that people have too many expenses. Yeah, have too many expenses. If they can't cover the expenses, and you leave out words when you're doing point form. If they can't cover expenses, leads to homelessness. That's a guess. Okay, that's what I think after seeing all this stuff. What else?
People that have a lot of kids, like children.
Yeah, people who have a lot of children are at higher risk.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, what made you think that, Joy?
Because sometimes if you have too much kid, like family, like you're not earning a lot of money, you end up being risk for the kids, for the children.
Okay.
Growing up,
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah. Okay. And we saw that they had the word families with children. So as soon as we see that, then we start thinking, oh, well, maybe it's going to say people who have a lot of children are at higher risk of becoming homeless because, yeah. What about when you see the bold word hidden homeless? What do you think?
Sorry, what's the meaning of hidden?
Hidden? Yeah, it means when something's hidden, you can't see it. So what do you think that means with hidden homeless? What could we predict they might be saying about that?
Sometimes when you see a family, you can't are homeless. When you see people that are homeless, you can't see why are they homeless. What is the reason for?
Okay. Sometimes you can't see the reason, so we just see the problem, but
Yeah.
we don't see the reason.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sometimes just see the problem of homelessness, but we don't see the reason. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. This is making predictions. Now what this assignment also wants you to do is tell in point form, how did you make these predictions? That's the tricky part, right? So with this one, for example, I predict that this is going to tell me about that people who have a lot of children are at higher risk. The strategy I used was looking at the bold word, families with children, and thinking about what I already know about those who have a lot of children. It's expensive, it's hard to provide. So I used what I know and this bold word to help me make this prediction. That's the trickiest part for people with this assignment. This assignment is really just thinking about your thinking. So any prediction you write down, I'm going to say, why? Why do you think that? Joy's like, she's done one of these before. Have you done one of these before, Helena?
No.
No. Okay. Yeah. Sometimes this can be a harder one for folks just because it's a lot of really deep thinking like, well, why did I think that? And what did I see there that made me think that? Okay? Homeless youth would be another one. If I think of homeless youth, maybe some of these ideas come to mind. Maybe a youth has trouble with drugs or drinking or getting mixed in the wrong crowd. I think it's going to tell me that there's a lot of homeless youth are there because they're suffering from addictions. Well, why did you think that? Well, I saw the word homeless youth in bold, so I know it's important. And then when I think of youth and some of the problems they go through, I think about addictions. It always goes back to your background knowledge, what you already know, and how that makes you make a guess. Okay? Everybody looks so excited about this. Yeah. Okay. Good. So we're not gonna, so then at the end, what you're gonna do a very detailed reading. You're gonna read the article or the piece of text that you choose, and you're gonna say if you were right or wrong. Oh, I was actually wrong. They said that homeless youth, often people think they're on drugs and drinking, but actually the problem has to do with education. They haven't had a chance to go to school. I don't know if that's what it says, but I haven't read it detailed in a while. I looked at it last year. But afterwards, what you'll do is you'll read through, and then you'll see, was I right or was I wrong? Okay? Another example? Okay, so let's go back to your checklist.